We've now come to a hole you may recognize as the par five.
Very professional. Thank you. Tim, question number one of the par five, your favorite golf course.
Well, I'm biased, Westmount.
Yeah.
I just saw I think the Score just had their biannual rankings.
Yeah.
It's number 12. And,
wow.
I still think it's a top 10 course, having played a lot, but I know it's easy to get sort of excited about new courses. I can't wait to go out to Cabot. What's the name of it? Cabot?
Cliffs
Hills,
and
Cabot.
Cabot Cliffs and Cabot Links. Yeah.
I know they're in the top 5 or so, but it's a Stanley Thompson course, probably the greatest designer we have, just for the number of quality courses, the greatness of the courses. But Westmount's unique. It has 5 par 5s. It's a par 73. We've had the Canadian Open there in '57. The LPGA, when it was the De Maurier Classic, when it was a major in 1990. Many provincial amateurs, many national amateurs, and we just had the women's amateur last week, and it's just a great test. Always in good condition. It's a truly unique course.
Question number 2, Tim. You can put together your ideal foursome, with the caveat no PGA or LPGA players, and anyone alive or dead who is filling out your foursome.
Like, so current, I can't. Or is it all time players?
All
time, yeah.
All time.
Okay, so Mo's out because he played on the PGA Tour for a couple of years.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Gary Cowan, I played with a number of times. So, well, definitely Bill Murray.
Good one. Yep.
Yeah. I just I think the world of him, and plus, he's just got the right attitude about golf, and he got in the game as a caddy.
He's the most legendary caddy, maybe.
I think as we're recording this, I think today's the 42nd anniversary of Caddyshack being released. I think I saw that on Twitter today, coincidentally.
There's a documentary A&E used to play about the making of Caddyshack, and they tell all kinds of stories about how filming was delayed because they were partying so hard at this motel they had rented out for all the actors and behind the scenes people. They thought this film would never get finished, and Ted Knight was blowing a gasket because he was a pretty serious guy. And anyway, okay, Bob Newhart would be in there.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's
a good pick.
I
used to have all his old albums. Well, my parents did, so I listened to them all, and I just think the best piece of comedy I've ever heard is when he does those phone calls.
Oh yeah.
They're just tremendous, and I've had to say a few speeches at weddings and that, and I've always used a bit of that, not phone calls but letters. I remember being at a wedding where the bride was a teacher, and there were a lot of teachers, and there were a lot of, back in those days, the teachers seemed to be going on strike every month, and the premier was William Davis here in Ontario, so I did a letter from William Davis to all the teachers.
At a wedding.
I was almost beat off the stage. Okay, so what right now? Did I just do 2?
Yeah, you did 2.
One more.
I didn't really think this out much. Okay.
I've noticed so far 2 comedians. So if you're trying to get us to come play golf with you at some point, we get it.
Well, we'll do it.
The third guy is a comedian, or sort of a comedian, and he claims that he once hit a 300-yard drive if you listen to him regularly every morning. But Howard Stern.
Oh.
He's just my favorite. First time I was in New York, somebody told me to listen to, I can't remember the guy's name. He got in all kinds of trouble by saying something racist on the air, and then
I said, Don Imus?
Don Imus,
yeah.
So I mentioned to somebody I listened to Don Imus, and the other guy said, "Oh no, listen to Howard Stern." So I listened to him. This is when he was really raunchy. Now he's just a great interviewer. He's left the raunchy stuff behind, and I just think, I know he doesn't really like golf, so this may be a bit of a stretch, but he did claim that once he went to Jimmy Kimmel's wedding, and they took him out golfing for 9 holes, and it took him 4 hours to play 9 holes, so they only played 9 holes, but he claims that one of his tee shots was 300 yards, and they tried to call him on it, but no, he's standing by his story. So.
I love that. That's a great pick from the idea that you're making him play, because he doesn't want to play.
I just want to talk to him because yeah, he's just such a great. I recently wrote a hockey book, and when the publishing company came and said, what are some of the radio stations you want to do podcasts? At the top of my list was Howard Stern. I knew I had no shot. But, we gave it the old college try anyway.
We were very happy that we were your second choice. Thank you, Tim.
I'd like to know how Nick pulled out the Don Imus there. That was pretty impressive.
That is good. Yeah. Yeah, that is very good.
I have a keen ear for racist white men on air who've been canceled.
Yeah, if you peel away Nick's golf background there, it's just a bunch of Imus posters from the various ages. I'm like, what? He's like, big fan.
Excited for this part of the podcast to go up on YouTube. Excellent, good. Tim, on a hot summer day, I think you kind of alluded to always a beer at halftime, but on a hot summer day, you're on hole 7 or 8. The bar cart comes around. What are you ordering from the bar cart, if anything?
Yeah, well, so there's a local brewery in Waterloo called Waterloo Brewing Company. They make a lot of cheap beers like Laker, Lager, Laker Ice, yeah. But they make a great Corona knockoff. 4.6% alcohol. Is that too much information? It's called Land Shark. It's just a nice.
Oh yeah. That comes from Waterloo.
Yeah, that comes from Waterloo. The water is great. That's why they call it Waterloo, Darryl.
Oh, I thought it came from a toilet. The loo part.
I like the Land Shark pick. I had that the other when I was golfing with Darryl in Ottawa actually, and I was like, yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's a nice light beer.
And I had some Laker Ice recently, which is I think a low end, but pretty decent. It was
Monty's hit a low point in his life.
Yeah,
all the guys walking around downtown Toronto, that's what they drink.
Yeah. Tim, if you can't tell, we're desperate for sponsors. Desperate. Yeah. We'll go Laker Ice at this stage.
I'll make her a Laker. I have no problem.
At least I'm clinging to Laker Ice, the high-end Laker.
Now Schultz has been trying to get me for years to try this Jameson's out, so I might have to try that. I don't know about on the golf course, but
the whiskey.
The whiskey.
Oh, there's nothing better than a good warm whiskey on a nice hot day.
I think I got Schultz drinking that. I'm not sure. I can't remember who.
Question 4, either the angriest you've ever seen someone on the golf course. It could be Mo, actually. I'd be curious to know if you've ever seen Mo sort of lose it on the course, or how do you stop from losing it on the golf course?
Well, I always have the built-in excuse, I don't practice.
Right. Perfect.
I don't get angry, but the angriest I ever saw a person, this was quite the story. There's a little golf course in the country of just outside of Kitchener-Waterloo called Dundee Country Club. There's a short par 3 on, I think it's number 5, about 140 yards, and it's no longer there, but there used to be this deep well. Like, I mean, it was such good water. People would bring jugs to fill up.
Wow.
And you would pass it on your way from 13 to 14 tee, and then after 16 green going to 17, or at the 5 green. So there was a guy there. I don't know if he was filling up a jug, but he was getting a drink. And we had just finished playing 5, so we were waiting in line. And we hear 4 from the tee on 5, and the guy got hit right below his eye. And he was furious. He picked up the ball and took a 4-iron out of his bag and shot it right back at the guy on the tee. And it was a hell of a shot. It just soared over the guy's head. And so he was going to 14 tee. So we ended up back at the clubhouse around the same time as we finished our front 9. And I saw the guy walking by me. You could see the dimple marks on his cheekbone.
Shit.
Yeah, and I didn't want to say anything to him because he looked like steam was still coming out of his ears.
The last question of the par 5, your favorite golf moment, and this could be either something you went through personally or something you watched on TV.
Yeah, well, I probably would have said Nicholas in '86. That that's such a great time. I remember I was helping set up the pro shop that spring at Westmount when we all just took a break and watched it. But really, what got me was 20 years later at the Ryder Cup when Europe won and Darren Clark won our hearts. He had lost his wife Heather to cancer.
Right.
Approximately 6 weeks beforehand.
Yep.
And it was so emotional. And I never thought about this until he won yesterday the Senior Open, because I think he became one of 4 guys to win the real Open and then the Senior Open. Bob Charles, Gary Player. I can't remember who the third one was, but anyway. So that was definitely the best 2000. But then I really felt great for him 5 years later when he won the real British Open.
Yeah.
To me, especially in his younger day, he just embodied what golf's all about. He just seemed to have so much fun, smile on his face, and that was both 2006 Ryder Cup, 2011 British Open were so emotional because this guy had so much talent, and you wonder if he got enough out of it, because at one time he liked to really have a lot of land sharks and genes.